But if a guy's name is Euripides Sneed, it doesn't tell you a thing. Jacque Fresco, the Jacque, doesn't stand for anything. So if each letter stood for areas of interest, do you know what I mean? Botany, chemistry, symbols, new symbols, you'll have a new name. Symbol 34D, whatever it is. That'll tell you what the person's like, instead of you saying, where did you come from, where were you born, what are your major areas of interest. Their name will tell you that. I'm an aeronautical engineer. You know what that means. I'm an aerodynamicist. I'm a chemist. You know what that means. So if a guy comes up and says, I'm a chemist, and I'm D4, that tells you a lot. If a guy says, well, I'm just a painter, and I paint whatever I feel like painting. Well, that doesn't tell you very much about the person. So I would say the names of people will tell you all about them in the future. Otherwise, it becomes cumbersome. If you want to manage the earth intelligently, you can't go on inventing Latin names for a flower that's 3 feet long. No, guy feels good because he composes it of Latin symbols. In medicine, they have that too. You know, so they will have, and also, remember we speak in sentences because we have to take a breath. But if we had a turbo lung, you know what that means? Where air came in all the time, you wouldn't have to speak in sentences or write in sentences. It's because we run out of air, so we go on, and then we say something else, see? You understand what I'm getting at? So I would say if there's any real advanced civilizations that can travel millions of light years through space, they would have come to something like that. Instead of words being abrupt, they'd be like that, rather than the man and the ship. That's because you have a tongue and you clip things. But the future of communication will be more like a song. I did want to say at this time, birds don't sing. They make noises, and we call songbirds. Because that's all projection, human projection. They say you can collect bird songs, by the way, you know. But birds don't sing. They're not out there singing away. They just make those sounds. Like my mother sees an ant that's going home to feed its young. I said, you know that. How do you know it just didn't feed its young? You know, my mother used to project a lot into things. A lot of people do. Next question.
Okay. Going back.
Did I answer your question?
Yeah.
The riots will grow, prisons will grow, and prisoners will be executed more than typical because they can't feed them all, you understand? Or they'll be slaves. They'll be leased out to corporate places to work for nothing.
Right. My concern with the whole collapse thing is I think some people get the idea it's going to be really, really, really bad. Let's say the riots get so bad that fundamental systems go down, like the electrical grid and so on and so forth, and things.
Well, the electrical grid supplies electrical energy for many different purposes. There'll be groups of people that will knock out one leg of a main tower and falls over and power is out from LA to San Francisco. The revolutionary types of the future will be intelligent people too. So I'm saying revolutionaries pick up clothes and anything, but a guy with a machine gun today can hold back 25 revolutionaries. And the machine guns have a laser beam right on you, and you press the button, you don't waste any bullets. Because when you're aiming, that doesn't mean you're going to hit the guy, but the laser beam is in the same line as your barrel. So guns are becoming more effective. Do you understand? I'm not upholding this. I'm just telling you that a smaller army and navy can do a better job. Now, if China and France and North Korea become technically advanced, which is highly improbable, really Japan is, if they become that, then they'll work on computerized systems to jam military computers, not build a lot of airplanes and battleships. That's the old way. But if you jam military computers, they can't operate anything. You don't need armies, navies. You understand what I'm talking about? This is what the Pentagon ought to be now. All electronic jamming systems, only, major, and how to detect where it's coming from. And if a missile is fired from another country, A portion of that trajectory is measured, and the launching equipment follows that trajectory. But if you can generate false trajectories, all that stuff, you can do a hell of a lot of damage. I don't know how far the Japanese will go. I don't know whether they're into robotics or into jamming systems. The Japanese have a fear of what China might do or what North Korea might do. But I don't know whether the Japanese in control of the military know what's essential to back. You know what I mean? We don't know what's essential. Systems engineering would be essential, but politicians wouldn't know that unless they have a scientific advisory board. And a scientific advisory board is as developed as a culture. Do you understand? Conservative scientists seem to dominate in this kind of culture. Radical scientists, according to Goddard, you know who Goddard was, the American rocket scientist? He wrote many times that you don't talk about rockets in scientific circles. You're looked upon as a radical, you know, that it's impractical, dreamer. Do you understand? He wrote that. He always said that. When I go to scientific, I can't talk about it because they ridicule me. So is there such a thing as a scientist? I don't believe so. I believe there are people that are scientifically oriented by their culture up to the limit of what their culture gives them. If they were scientific, they would immediately ask about the culture, how it operates. They don't even look at the highways as inefficient. They're commercial products, highways, automobiles. What the question is distribution of resources to people in the most efficient manner. That's the problem. So obviously, there's no such thing as a scientist from my point of view. You understand? A scientist would not be engaged in particle behavior while the Earth's falling apart. He would immediately turn his attention to protection of the environment. And when I said we don't have enough money to build antibodies for all the known diseases, but do we have enough resources? Scientists, yeah. Then what the hell are you dealing with raising funds for? Do you know what I mean? That's why I say I can't conceive of a scientist today. I don't say there are none. I haven't met any. Have you? Scientists that are social, that say the only problem is the insufficiency of our social design. That's what the problems are. Now, I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'm leading up to something here. What I'm concerned about is if there's a major collapse and we have loss of fundamental systems, wouldn't that be harder to create abundance and also the mindset?
You won't be able to create it.
Right. So wouldn't it be
I
harder?
don't know what the future will be.
Okay.
But I can say it's probably will kill each other. But I can't live with that. So I speak out. I don't say the future will be this. And people say, how long from now do you see this scientific world? I don't know that. That's not up to me. If you put me in charge, I can tell you that. But if they are in charge, how can I tell you that? I can't tell you what the future will be. I can tell you what the trends are. That's about all. Now, I can tell you what the future of computers will be if we don't kill each other. But if we kill each other, there is no future. If we poison the air and the oceans, and we use artificial pumping in animals to make them grow faster, you might lose your population due to diseases. Cancer is rapid multiplication of cells, so if you can multiply the cells in a chicken faster, you can sell it sooner. But does that have an effect on the human body? They don't worry about that. They worry about the sale of chickens. If they don't go far enough, they'll kill themselves due to ignorance. When I use the term ignorance, I don't mean that they're stupid. I mean they just haven't been taught what is essential. I never met anyone that knew what the hell was essential. They use words like city planning. I don't know what the hell that means. Does it mean there's a school in every district, or you have to drive to schools, or there are more schools in a residential district, upper middle class? In other words, when they say all men are created equal, that bothers me. I told you some are thin, some are heavy, some have better eyesight than others. I don't know what that means, but I think they're trying to talk about equal opportunity, and I know that doesn't exist. If you don't have the money to go to college, the word equal opportunities mean nothing.